Hello, hello, hello. Happy Saturday. Put the little chat overlay up over here. Welcome in. I'm in my new office, as you can see. Maybe you noticed it, maybe you didn't. I no longer have blue walls. My walls are now neutral, which is what they were before, which is crazy because when I first got the blue wall office, I didn't like it. I was like, oh, these walls are not what I want. I want neutral walls. And now that I don't have them anymore, I'm like, well, it was kind of nice. It was kind of a nice pop of color. So it's interesting to see how sometimes things that you thought you didn't like, you suddenly like, and that you thought you would be okay with leaving, you suddenly are not. So I think it's really cool. Make sure as you're coming in, if this is your first time joining me, please give me your name. Tell me where you are joining me from. I got our chat overlay up over here. And I'm also using a new texting service. So I think hopefully you don't get 5 texts in a row. I kept clicking it and I think I might have over clicked. But the new texting service doesn't go out right away. So I have to pre-schedule it and like get it ready to go. I received the text, and this is probably a friend saying that they got it a couple times. Yeah, I got the text once. So far, so good. The other thing that I sent over to you guys earlier this week is questions about this session in particular. If this was a session that you wanted me to go through presentation style, or if you wanted me to do the breakdown or the behind the scenes of it. And as I was going through the responses, it was like breakdown. We want to see a breakdown. We want a full breakdown. We want to see why you chose the topic, what you chose. And I did have a couple people who said they wanted to just have me go through the full presentation start to finish. And so what I'll say to that is I did go through the full presentation start to finish, and you can grab that. I'll give you the link at the end, and I think it's in the description actually. So if you go to the description box for this video on YouTube, the link is in there and you can register, you can watch it from start to finish, and it's all the slides. It's exactly what I'm going to be sharing today. Some of you remember when I did this session a couple of weeks ago, and I told you that I was gearing up for my Q4 launch, and I kind of tested out the content. It's different from then. So if you saw it before, it's different, and we're going to be breaking it down in just a little bit. All right, cool. What's going on, Khadija? Glad to have you here. Revwan is here. Welcome. And yeah, let's jump in. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and do my intro, and we can jump into. I'm really excited now about my new studio setup. So I figured out what I had to do. So let me record it and I'll show you. I'll do like a little Instagram clip, make sure there's nothing on this desk. Just back it up a little bit. So basically what I realized is if I push my 2 monitors all the way to the right of the desk, then while I'm broadcasting, I can have my broadcast camera. I don't need the second desk, which I have over here right now. I don't need the second desk. I can have my broadcast area, and I can just move this monitor, work monitor, broadcast monitor, and I'm good to go. So I'll share that with you guys on Instagram so you can take a look at it. And we're going to get going. What's going on, Candy from Ohio? Super excited to have you here. So yeah, if I look over that way, you'll notice it's because I'm looking at the the chat. All right, cool. So if this is your first time joining me, you're in for a really, really good session today. Normally when I do my live trainings, we just choose a topic and I teach on that topic over the next hour. This session that I'm doing is a full presentation. So you're going to get slides. You're going to want to grab a notebook, take notes. You're going to get a lot of teaching and information in this session. And once again, if this is your first time meeting me, my name is LaTisha. I am a mentor for high achievers. I'm known for creating 6- and 7-figure earners by helping clients identify and dissolve the subconscious blocks that are holding them back from reaching their full potential. My clients are known for using my strategies to generate $18K in 2 weeks, $10K in 10 days, and $95K in 12 months, among other results. And that is why you are here today to get on the path to getting some of those results for yourself. I broadcast every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. I pack a lot of value in these trainings, and as with all things valuable, there is a price. So you can join me live. You get to soak up all this goodness for free. Afterwards, I put the training inside of my YouTube member vault. You can become a member by clicking join on our YouTube channel. It's $2.99 a month. You'll get access to a back catalog of like 2 years of trainings, 1 hour trainings, and I'll be loading some new stuff in there soon. Okay. If you want notifications when I go live, just subscribe and click the bell. If you are on my text list, you will get a text message, hopefully only one, when I'm live. And you also get access to secret flash sales and special deals. Yes, it pays to be a buyer. If you're outside of the US, go to LaTisha.tv/free, download any of my free trainings, guides, or PDFs, and you're in there like swimwear. What's going on, Adrian? I believe you can create your life, but first you have to decide, because your dreams deserve your decision and you deserve to achieve your dreams, but only if you decide to do whatever it takes to get them. So with that said, let's hop into today's topic. All right. I feel like this was also a good time for me to do my record for the actual professional camera. This process has been working really, really well. I haven't talked a whole lot about it, but essentially what I'm doing is, like I said, I've got the camera and the live stream like camera right on top of each other. And essentially, as I'm recording the content, we grab it later. I create YouTube shorts, some long form videos also. So some of these live streams that are an hour long, I'm able to grab like some good chunks of content that maybe 20 minutes long and put that on the YouTube channel. So still kind of testing that out. We'll let you know how it goes. All right. So today is 6 steps to 6 figures. And it is going to be epic. Zan the Man, very accurately described. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you'll be able to see the presentation. And we will go ahead and jump right in. As I go through this, so this is going to be a little bit different from how I would normally present. Normally, I would just go through, start going through the slides, going through the content. But as you'll see, as I start, kind of pointing to and making reference to the slides, I'm going to explain as we go. So we'll start with slide 1. And before I do that, I'm curious to know from you, what would you like to know when it comes to creating webinars, creating content, conversion content? So not just like social media content, the content that people normally think about. What do you want to know the most when it comes to creating conversion content like this? Webinars, sales presentations that actually lead someone to taking an action. What do you want to get out of this? And then hopefully if there's anything I missed, I didn't cover, we'll make sure to cover that. So let's start with the topic, which is 6 simple steps to 6 figures. I called it 6 steps to 6 figures because the entire presentation is all about how I made it to finally making $1 million in sales online. And then also the 6 steps I would take if I wanted to get to my very first 6 figures all over again. So when I first started my business, and I'll come back to the slides in a second. When I first started the business, I didn't jump right into coaching. And I'll talk about that in a second in the presentation. I started with consulting. Like I had a client that I had met when I was in college. I actually interned for him, and he reached out and he was asking about, how can I help him with, he's like, well, this blog stuff, and I want to learn more. I want to, get some content out there, because he had a business. And I decided to offer my services as a consultant, as, a freelancer, doing some done for you work for him. And that's what started my entire successful online business, because I had 2 businesses that I had done before that didn't quite work. And that started my first successful online business. And then I kind of fell into coaching because I started doing workshops, things like that. So when I created the title of this, presentation, it really reflects what I truly wanted, which is My goal was always to make it to six figures. I knew that I was going to generate six figures. That was like the holy grail. If someone made $100,000, whether it was in their business or at work, that's the salary number that people are always like, wow, like that's exactly what I want. And I knew that I could do that with a business. I wasn't sure if I could do it in a career. And so the reason that I chose this title is because that was always the goal that I had. And I know it's gotten a little bit cliche now. It's like, let's get to six figures. Everybody wants to get to six figures. But to be honest with you, six figures is really just the start. The year that I made $100,000 the very first time, I realized very quickly that I was going to have to make more than $100,000 if I not only wanted to pay myself, I wanted to also grow the business, and I wanted to, put some money aside for potential rainy day, recession, et cetera, et cetera. So once you make it to six figures, you realize very quickly that the carrot stick does have to move. But first, we got to get to that first carrot stick. So that's what this one is all about. What's going on, Thomas? All right. Okay, cool. Let's jump into the first thing. So the very first thing I do is obviously we want to set a GPS. When you're creating your presentation, you want to set a goal. So my goal with this session is to help shortcut your success. And I give you the earnings disclaimer, which is getting to six figures is not easy. Okay. Even though the steps might be simple, it's not easy. And in just a little bit, I'll show you a video I recorded when six figures was just a dream. And I was exactly where you are right now looking for answers. So this is where I share my story. So this next couple of slides, which I'm going to go through these slides, I just start sharing my personal story. You don't always have to start your presentation with sharing your personal story, but if you are capturing a new audience who doesn't necessarily know you, that's probably where you want to start. And the reason I say this is at the end of my YouTube videos, the most recent ones that I've recorded, I'll say I did a new presentation. It's called Six Steps to Six Figures. And I explain and tell them to click the link in the bio or click the link in the description to go to the video. Those people who just found me through a YouTube video, they might not necessarily know who I am. So I do have to explain what's in it for them, but I also have to explain why they should listen to me. And I start that by telling my story. So I remember when I started my first side hustle, I just wanted to make an extra $500 a month so that I could help cover part of my rent. And at the time, I had just gotten my first full-time job and realized the salary wasn't going to be enough. So can you relate to this? Like, how am I supposed to fly first class if I don't have enough cash to do it, right? Like I have more expenses than I have cash. Another way to say it is I had more month than I had money, right? Like the month was still going and the money was gone at that point. I knew the only way to improve my situation was to learn the skill of making money. And I knew it was a skill I could learn because when I set my mind to something, I do it. I remember I used to look at the Forbes list of millionaires, billionaires, and I would read the bio of everyone that was on the list. And every single person on the list was business owner, or inherited from a business owner. So yes, there were some inheritances, but the most part, they all were business owners. They had all created their own enterprises, and that's how they made it to, that millionaire, billionaire status. And I knew that if I wanted to get there as well, I had to follow in the footsteps of people who had already done it instead of saying, oh, well, I'm going to do it with with a job. Like I didn't see anybody on there that said, oh, they got rich because they worked 9 to 5 for 50 years. So if you can relate to this and you want to know what to do to create your six-figure year, you're in the right place, even if you are starting from scratch. All right. So every time I transition into the next section, so this is the next section. So you notice how like my intro was fairly short. It was 2 or 3 slides. And it wasn't more necessarily about me, but it was about me relating to them, right? Relating to the person who's watching. And now the transition is, okay, well, let me explain what I mean when I say if you're starting from scratch. The title is 6 Steps to Six Figures, even if you're starting from scratch. How I made it's 6 Steps to Six Figures, how I made $1 million selling coaching, courses, and consulting, and the 6 steps I would take even if I were starting from scratch. So at this point, I'm still defining the title. So I've defined the goal is learn the skill of making money. And then even if you're starting from scratch, so we're defining what is from scratch. Okay. All right, cool. I'm seeing your comments. What's going on? Alicia's here. I'm interested in knowing the content to make to attract clients, researching ideas for YouTube. Okay, good. So this is going to be helpful. All right, so what does it mean when I say I'm starting from scratch? Well, you could be a YouTuber and you have subscribers. Maybe your only income is from AdSense. You've created an Instagram channel and maybe you have followers, but you haven't really monetized like you know you could. You have a podcast or a blog, but you don't feel like it's building your influence or income. Or maybe your TikTok gets plenty of views, but once again, not enough to call it a true business. If you can relate, then you're in the right place. So this is where I define who my people are. I'm saying so at this point, we're, maybe 3 minutes in, right? If I'm going and I'm not explaining as I go, we're about 3 minutes in. In the first 3 minutes, I want you to know, like, here's the title. This is the big promise. This is the goal that I want to help you get. And this is for you if you're here. So I'm defining the person inside of the first couple of minutes so that everyone else can leave. And if they say like, yes, this is me, then that's great because those are people that I can help. Okay, so just real quick to break down, what do I mean when I say six figures? That's $100,000 per year, or maybe per month. Because I know some of y'all are already thinking that way, and I like it. But for now, let's just break this down over 365 days. That is $273.97 per day. So that seems pretty manageable, right? Like, if someone told you, okay, all you need to do is make $273 per day, it's pretty manageable. If that's you and you desire to reach that milestone, let me see the money bags in the chat. So do me a favor and drop a money bags in the chat. Okay, I'm going to pause here, and I should do a separate LaTisha hat. This is where you get your first round of engagement. So once again, you've gone through the first 3 minutes. The person who's sitting there is saying like, yes, this is me. This is what I want. And now you're asking for engagement. So you want to make sure that as you're doing your presentation, you are also asking for feedback, asking for engagement, asking for conversation, because if you are just broadcasting out to a dead audience that's passively listening, when it's time to have the pitch at the end, you're going to have a really hard time. But if they're already walking with you, right? So essentially every time you ask for a feedback or a comment or chat or raise your hand or whatever it is, what you're doing is you pick them up out of their seat and you're walking them by the hand. By the end of it, when it's time to actually make an offer, make a pitch, and it's time to, walk them over to the desk where they go sign up, it's that much easier to do it because you don't have to pick them up out of the chair that they've been sitting in stagnant for the last couple of however long your presentation is. So they've been sitting for the last couple, 30 minutes. You don't have to worry about trying to pick them up and move them over. So it's important you have these spots of engagement along the way. Okay. All right, cool. I see the money bags. I'm going to feature these on the screen as we go. Money bags are going. Okay, cool. And it's also a great opportunity for you to pause, breathe, and settle into the next section of your content. All right. So let's break it down even further. Be honest. How many of you have screenshot a post like this? They're like, okay, if you want to make $1 million, all you got to do is sell $200 product to 5,000 people, or sell a $2,000 product to 500 people. And it's really easy to create this meme and break down the numbers, but no one actually shares what steps you have to take to get there. So if you have a YouTube channel, a TikTok following, a podcast audience, or blog readers, I can show you how to monetize your content, build an audience of buyers, all while staying true to your authentic self. Okay. Now, you can do this in a few ways, but some of the most popular ways are courses, group programs, or membership programs. And so if you had a $1,000 course, that would be one sale every 4 days. If you had a $4,000 group program, that would be one sale every 16 days, or about 2 per month. And if you had a $30 membership program with about a 3-month stick rate, that means you only need 3 members per day in order to reach your 6-figure goal. Now, how do you create that course? How do you fill that group program? And how do you get members into a monthly membership? That's what I'll share today. Okay, so in this last section, so let's go back and just a quick review. We got our first engagement, the first comment. We got our first promise, mini promise. I said, no one shares the steps of how to get there. The title is 6 steps, right? And then once again, I define the audience again. If you have a YouTube channel, TikTok following, et cetera, okay? Then I did my own math to break it down based on the promise that I provided, which is if you have that following, I can show you how to monetize your content. And we do that with either a course, a group program, or a membership program. Okay. And then I set up the problem, which is, okay, well, how do you fill that? And that's where the content comes in. So now that we have our hook, which is I'm going to show you how to monetize your content, monetize your audience. Now we can go into actually setting up the credibility for me and for myself. Okay, so why should you listen to me? Today, I run a personal brand that's generated $1 million and continues to generate multiple six figures per year from coaching, courses, digital products, brand partnerships, and consulting. I've helped thousands of students create marketing systems, launch courses, and sell their skills in the form of consulting services, speaking engagements, and digital products. I'm the founder and CEO of You've Got Clients, and I help clients identify and dissolve the subconscious blocks, preventing them from reaching their full potential. Many of my clients have gone on to generate 6 and 7 figures. I've helped clients hit their first 5-figure launch, their first 7-figure year, and even make their first dollar. And I'm qualified to teach this because I did start from scratch. I didn't have any connections. Okay, pause. This is the story arc where you explain where you are now, why people should listen to you, your credible features, but then also dip down into why you're relatable and believable. And so as you watch, like now that I'm breaking this down for you and you start watching other presentations and webinars, you'll start realizing this, that there's always there's a riches to rags section. And then we go back to rags to riches, right? So it's like a trough. That's why I'm doing this hand motion. So we start with like, this is where I am, right? So this is me, professional photo. So notice the difference between this photo and this photo, which was taken in my office, my very first office. So this is me, professional photo. This is like the credentials, things I've been able to do. These are the clients I've been able to help. We got some big numbers here and things that clients have been able to do. I have it broken out into clients who've made 7 figures, 6 figures, who generated 5 figures from their launch, and then just started making high ticket sales. And then we drop down to, okay, but I didn't start there. Okay. And the reason we're doing that is because now it's time for you to start your relatable story. Okay. I see some comments in here. All right. What if I don't have a large audience or following yet? Is this for me? So the presentation, absolutely. So notice that I said at the very start, which is a good question. Let me go back to that. At the very start, I said, well, what does it mean that if you're starting from scratch? And I said, maybe you have a YouTube audience. Maybe you've created an Instagram channel and you have some followers. Maybe you have a blog or podcast. Like you've started already. So the audience that I'd like to work with is someone who's already started. They've already started putting their feet in the water. They're not waiting to create that Instagram channel, waiting to create that YouTube channel, waiting to create that blog or podcast. They've already started, but they haven't monetized it like they know they could. So really good question. That starts to help you filter out your audience. Okay. Yes, this is for you as well. Okay. Someone just realized they only need 3 people per day in a $30 membership in order to hit that 6 figures. Absolutely. Yes, you do need to create your course. All right, cool. The math on that. So it's a 3-month stick rate. 3-month stick rate. Okay, so that means, and I did this math myself, but y'all bear with me, okay? So that means you're getting 3 members a day times 30 days. That's $2,700, right? Times 12 months. How did I do that math? Hang on a second. Bear with me because I did it. I did this. So let's see. 3 members a day times 30 days. That's 90 members in a month. Each of those 90 members is paying $30. That's $2,700 per month. And then they have a 3-month stick rate. There you go. Times 12. 8,100. Okay, there it is. It's 97,200 for that one. So it's a little bit under six figures. All right, cool. Thomas says, I'm loving the breakdown. No one ever bothers to show this part. Yeah. This is the important piece. Okay. All right, so let's move into the next section. So the next section is, once again, so riches to rags. So we're still in the rags section, right? So I didn't have any scholarships from rich parents or a rich uncle. I didn't even really know business when I started. I first had a personal finance blog. So I was blogging, creating YouTube videos. I was making a little bit of money from my blog. I felt like I was on the content hamster wheel. So how many of you have felt this before? Like I was creating content nonstop, but I wasn't getting paid for those hours. And so that's when I decided I wanted to shift into consulting. I wanted to teach how to create content. I wanted to work with business owners. I wanted to use social media. I wanted to work with corporations and speak. Basically, I wanted to go for higher dollar opportunities instead. And at the time, I had a small email list for my personal finance blog, but I knew I couldn't transfer those people over. So I restarted my list and I hosted my very first workshop. So 6 people signed up for that workshop and that gave me 6 new email subscribers. Now I did mention I was going to share the video that I recorded at the start of my journey. So I'm going to go ahead and share that now. Hello, my name is LaTisha Styles and I am chronicling my journey of rebranding. Essentially, I'm sort of starting from scratch. The reason why it's so important to me to chronicle this journey is because, as I mentioned, I'm sort of starting from scratch. So I am building my email list from scratch. I started out with 0 names. And then within 12 months, I'd like to build a coaching business, a business that is sustained by only my coaching, my one-on-one services, as well as my workshops and my group courses. And I'm so thankful that I am happily depositing $10,000 per month into my bank account from my business. All right, cool. I love the fact that once the video stopped, it stopped right away. Okay. Now I always cringe a little bit when I see that video, but at the same time, I'm proud of myself for at least setting a goal. My initial goal was to prove to myself I can make $10,000 each month and do it consistently. And I did exactly that. So this is from last year, it's from 2021. I was able to generate $300K from coaching, consulting, and digital product sales, on top of, as you'll see here, affiliate income, and then some revenue from my YouTube channel as well. But really, honestly, not much from my YouTube channel. If you guys saw my 10-year YouTube anniversary just came up, and I think over those 10 years, I think I've made like 3,000 total from YouTube, maybe more, but not much. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you how, but first I have to know who I have here because unfortunately I can't help everybody. Okay, I'm going to read this next section and then I'm going to explain. So this is the next piece we want to dig into. Okay, so here's who I can help. You're the dreamer and the doer. You know your dreams feel a little bit out of reach, but you'll stop at nothing to make them happen. You believe in yourself no matter what, even though your feelings might also cause you to feel doubt. Your core belief is that you can do it. You're a high achiever, but you know that without direction, you'll falter and not reach your full potential. And that's what scares you the most. And you don't just want money. You want money and the impact that comes with wealth, not just for yourself, but for your family as well. You have a message to share, and that's what drives you. And finally, you're a little delusional. You know that if it's possible for you. So just breaking down this section really quick, notice that this is also explaining the person that I can help, but it's not the practical of, okay, you have a YouTube channel, you might have, an Instagram account, you might do this, that. It's the psychographics is what it's called. And it's like, these are the type of people that I want to work with. These are the personalities. This is the type of person I know is going to be coachable. These are the people that I desire to work with. So I define my ideal client in 2 ways. The first way is, do you actually meet these checkpoint qualifications? And then secondly, are you a cool person? There are plenty of people who meet those first qualifications who would identify and say, yes, I've kind of gotten started. I've done this and done that. But unfortunately, they are not the dreamer and the doer. Some of them are just dreamers. Some of them don't believe in themselves no matter what. They're like, well, maybe this is not for me. Some of them are not high achievers. I love to work with high achievers. That's how I can help clients get such great results, because they're very similar to me. And also, they don't just want money. Like, I don't want to work with anyone who's, okay, this is a get rich quick, because they're going to get disappointed, because no, it's not quick. And also, I love working with people who are a little bit delusional, because I was delusional also. I knew that if it was possible for me. So I would encourage you also to think about the type of person that you want to work with. Don't steal these. These are mine. Do not plagiarize them. But think about for yourself, who is the person that you want to work with? The former things I used to use, which is like, you're coachable, you're resourceful, and there was like something else that I put in there, and I took those and elevated them to these. Like, these are the ones that I created for myself. Okay. All right. And that's the last one. The being delusional is why I'm here today with the $1 Million Brand, a business that reaches thousands of people every day, and heck, even the marriage and body of my dreams. I'm living proof that it's okay to be a little bit delusional. It's okay to have some blind faith. So if that just described you and you're a little bit delusional, type in the chat. That's me. All right. Notice this is the second time that I've asked for direct feedback. So once again, we're kind of moving and continuing to get feedback. Now, the reason that I also include these personal, like little personal hits, is because I understand that the person that I want to work with, once again, they don't just want money. They want money for the ability that they're able to like support their family and their own personal dreams. And you'll see in some other trainings and webinars, other people will do this a little bit different. Like, they'll share like stories about their kids, and like maybe they couldn't go watch their kids until they got their business up and going. For me, I really wanted to have a well-rounded business. I actually had a business owner that reached out about a week or so ago, and she was like, hey, I noticed that you reached 1 million. Like, are you also happy in the rest of your life? And I thought it was a really weird question, because I literally just met her and we don't really know each other. We're just friends on Facebook. We're connections on Facebook. And I asked her, I was like, well, why do you ask? And she said, I've noticed that a lot of people who claim to say that they have reached $1 million or made $1 million in sales are also not happy in their personal life. Either their relationships are in disarray or they're unhealthy. And it seems like you quote unquote, have it all. And my response to her was, yeah, but I took 7 years to get here. I didn't push everything else at all costs, like, oh, we're just going for the money at all costs. No, I knew that I wanted to take care of my relationship. I wanted to have a solid, loving, happy relationship. I knew that I wanted to take care of my body and my health, because that's very important for me. So the money part came slower than it probably would have if I hadn't thought of those things. But I knew that I didn't want to get to the quote unquote top of the mountain and my health was suffering, or I was single and, back to where I was before I first started my business, which was wanting to be in a relationship. Okay. All makes sense. Okay, good. Awesome. Okay. So then the next thing we go into, and I'm going to run through, notice that we're on 37 of 122. So I'm going to run through the rest of these fairly quickly. And if you would like to watch the full presentation, just click the link in the bio. You can watch it from start to finish without the breakdown. The reason I'm going to run through the rest of the breakdown fairly quickly is because once we get to the content pieces, it's they're bigger blocks. So there's not much I need to explain. Okay. But the first 15 minutes of everything that I've done to set it up, these are the most important parts. Okay. All right. So now all I'm doing is I'm setting the stage for why what I'm sharing is important and why it's important right now. So making money online used to be a little bit like the wild, wild west. I actually remember this kid from high school. He set up a website. He installed AdSense on the website. So he put Google Ads on the website. And then he would tell his friends from high school, hey, go to the website, go click it, just click it once a day. And every one of those clicks for him was worth like $1 or $2. Like back then, you could make a lot of money on the publisher side because there weren't a lot of websites where people could put ads. And so I remember he was making like an extra $100 for a couple of days until Google actually figured it out. They shut his ad account down. They banned him from Google Ads. And there were little things like that were happening here and there. This other guy, his name is Alex too. He set up a website called the $1 Million Homepage. and he sold a pixel. He sold a dot, like literally virtual real estate before NFTs existed. Each one was $1, and he made $1 million by selling pixels, by selling dots. And that was Web 1.0. Like basically, you could throw up a website, you make money from ads. And then we moved into Web 2.0, which was involved social media. And that's Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, rest in peace, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and things changed. Now, I remember I was recently reading an article where it said that in the 2000s, the consumer markets experienced the start of what became to be known as the attention economy, where brands engage in a digital and social media battle for the finite attention of their consumers. And that's exactly where we are right now. What does that mean? It means that we only have so much attention to provide, and brands are competing for that attention. They literally are trying to find us wherever we are. If we're watching TikToks, they want to put an ad in front of that. If you're watching Instagram or Facebook or Netflix, or happen to be on your computer or literally scrolling through Amazon, you see ads there because our attention is limited, and where we are putting our attention, the brands want to be in front of us. Now, we're 20 years into Web 2.0, and it's not so much like the Wild Wild West anymore, but that's actually a good sign because that means that there's a blueprint that you can follow to make six figures online. But as a reminder, the most valuable commodity is and will always be attention. If you can attract attention, you can monetize it either through your own products or another's products. Now, what will Web3 be? The jury is out on that. Some people say it's going to be decentralized communities, like it'll be less like Facebook, and each of us will have our own community, which I kind of see it going that way. Other people say that it's going to be a more enhanced version of Web 2.0. Honestly, it's difficult to answer because it's still in development, but that's also a good sign. That means that if you can start gaining attention now and learning how to maximize this attention economy, you can start monetizing your gifts, okay? If you can attract attention, you can monetize it. Okay. So with this last section, with this why now section, I did a couple of things. I set the stage and explained where we are now and why it's important. I provided some credibility and support and validity for the statements that I made. And I explained why it's important to get started right now. And that's because if you want to benefit from the Web3 that's coming and everything that's happening in these changing times, you need to start now. You need to start gaining attention now. You don't need to create your Instagram account tomorrow, 3 years from now, because who knows if Instagram is even going to be around. Right now, you need to start gaining attention and creating and developing your own economy. If you can gather attention, you can monetize it. Okay. And that's what the path to six figures is about. It's about attention. It will always be about attention. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to share a handful of proven business models that anyone can use to create six figures online. And this is also exactly what I would do if I were starting from scratch. So just a quick disclaimer, this is not a get rich quick scheme. There's no overnight ATM, fast money, or passive income that doesn't first come with long days, canceled events, and missed parties. But my goal is to open your eyes to the possibility that is available to you if you're brand new to monetizing your audience or influence, or to just like really give you renewed hope if you feel like you're starting from scratch. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to explain is that this workshop is set up as this training is set up workshop style. Specific points, I'm going to give you a challenge and then 10 to 15 seconds to complete the challenge. Why only 10 seconds? Well, you thought you were only going to learn the skill of getting to six figures, but you're also going to learn how to tap into that big machine you have into your head. Because I'll let you in on a secret. Your brain already knows six figures is just the start. You're going to learn how to get that brain to work with you. We're going to start breaking some of those subconscious blocks that have been holding you back from success. And so if you don't already have it, grab a pen or grab the notes app on your phone, and it's time for your first challenge. Okay. So type the statement or say it out loud, or do both if you really want to hammer this home. If it's possible for me. If it's possible for me. All right, so what I did here, everything that I did up to this step number 1, which is what we're about to move into, which is the content. That should all happen in your first 15 minutes. That's your credibility, why people should pay attention right now, why they are the ones that you want to help, that you can help or work with, what's going on that is making this such a good opportunity. And you can do this for, once again, a health offer, a relationship offer. It doesn't just have to be a money offer. All you have to do is set the stage, and you have to be the one to bring the proof statements that that person doesn't know yet. They don't know your topic. They don't understand what the possibilities are. They don't know what is there out there for them. So you have to set that stage and set that statement for them. Okay, cool. Questions are, will this be available after? This breakdown is going to go inside of the Path to Six Figures coaching program, because this is exactly what we teach inside of that program. So thank you for the opportunity to do a quick 10-second plug for the Path to Six Figures. So we're going to be opening the doors to the Path to Six Figures in a couple of days, actually, in a couple of weeks. And if you do want to monetize your influence, if you do want to understand how to create conversion content, if you do want to understand how to pull this all together to know your ideal client avatar, understand how to send emails, but also get like email templates, the software and everything that you need to pull all of this together and make this work, then you need to join us in the Path to Six Figures. The Path to Six Figures is my flagship program. We're opening the doors in a couple of weeks. When you join us, you get 12 months of support inside of the program. You get access to the content for life, but you get active support in a coaching capacity. You get to come to the calls. You get to ask your questions. You get support as you're moving through this and as you're creating all of this. And one of the things I will say is probably the biggest differentiator with the Path to Six Figures versus other programs, and this is not from me, this is what I've heard from clients, is that they literally say that it's a step-by-step. So the same way that I'm breaking this down, I explain each of the things that you have to do in a step-by-step fashion. I'll say, all right, step one, do this. Now go do that. Okay, great. Did you do that? Okay, now you can move on to the next thing. And if that's what you'd like, if you like things that are broken down in an easy to follow fashion, and you want to just stay on the path, then that's what you want to do. Okay. So if you'd like to get on the wait list, just go to LaTisha.tv/free. Actually, just go and watch this presentation on the website. So you can go to LaTisha.tv/free and go get the training there. Okay. All the pricing and everything is on that page. I don't say pricing on videos or put it on the screen because pricing does change. At the end of every year, I raise my prices, programs go away, bonuses come out, things like that. So you just have to go to the page to see the most current and updated pricing. Okay. And then also, when you ask that question, think about for yourself, what is it worth to you first before you look at the price? Think for yourself, like, what is this worth to me? So side note, okay, I'm going to do just a little side note because I get this question a lot. So the question I get very often is, how much is it? How much is the course? How much is the coaching? How much is the program? And the true question behind that is, how much is it worth to me? Because if it's worth it for you, you have to define a worth for it. If I say this water bottle is worth it for me, I have to define what is worth. So I have to say, okay, well, I would say that this bottle is worth to me $10, right? So I have to give it a value first. Once I give it a value, when I go to look at the price, then I can say, oh, it's not worth it because it's only worth to me $10. Not what it should cost, because obviously, we already know how much it costs to make these things and plastic and stuff like that. It's probably, just a couple of pennies on the dollar. It's not about what it should cost. It's about, what is it worth to me? What am I willing to spend in order to get that outcome, in order to get that transformation? How long have I been struggling in what I've been doing? What am I willing to do? What time am I willing to put in? Because you're not just spending money, you're also spending time. You're going to be spending time, you're going to be spending energy, you're going to be spending effort. Just like what I said on the start of this presentation, there's no get rich quick scheme. There's like missed parties. There's no overnight ATM. You have to keep in mind that there's going to be things you're going to be giving up as well. So price does not exist in a vacuum. It's not just the number that's on the screen. It's also what you're giving up, what you're willing to put in, and all of the things that come with that, receiving that transformation at the end. So whenever I hear that question, I also hear the question underneath it. Often it's, okay, well, let me figure out, if I carry the one, do this. It's like, it's not about that. You have to understand that there's a subconscious question beneath it, which is, am I willing to invest the time and the energy that's going to be required in order to recoup my investment. And that's whether you're doing something for relationships, health and wellness, et cetera, et cetera. When I first started working with my coaches and I looked at the prices that they had, I was like, okay, am I actually going to show up? Because if I'm not going to show up, it doesn't make sense to spend this money, right? If I am going to show up and I do get the outcome, because if I show up, I get the outcome, then, oh, it's absolutely worth it. It's so cheap. So that's something else to think about and consider. Sorry, I kind of went off on a Okay, I turned myself off by accident. Revon's in the program. He says, yes, it's worth it. Adrian's in the program. She says, the program has really been a blessing. Okay, thank you for the vote of confidence. All right, we got about 15 minutes, so I'm going to run through these last couple of pieces and share it with you. So the next thing we do after we set the stage in the first 15 minutes of the presentation is we start moving into the actual content. Now, the way that I set up the content, and I'm just going to kind of rush through these, the content pieces, is we set up the awesome thing that your client wants. So what is it that they desire? Okay. So the first thing that I do is I kind of set the stage of choosing your path for the business model. Okay. And I talk about how, I never really knew anything about business. Once again, explaining, I tell a little bit more of my story. If you ever feel concerned about, oh, my story is too long, there are other places you can plug your story in that might make sense inside of your content. So this is where I plug in a little bit more of my story, a little bit more of the rags section of my story. And then I talk about a little bit more of the riches. So I'm like, okay, I decide to do what works. And I've learned that there are 5 proven business models. Okay. So then I go through and I start talking about the proven business models, right? So there's digital product creator, there's coach, consultant, influencer, affiliate marketer. And I go through why I recommend these. And so I'm just starting the content. So your content, there's not really a whole lot to break down here because everyone's content is going to be different. It's based on what you teach and what you share. But the purpose of you sharing this content is not to necessarily teach the person what to do. So I'm not teaching you how to become a digital product creator, how to become a coach, consultant, influencer, or affiliate marketer. I'm explaining what is available. Okay. So there's 3 things when we're sharing content. There's the what, the why, and the how. Okay. We share the what. This is the what. Okay. What can you do in order to get to 6 figures? Okay. You can follow one of these 5 proven business models. We share the why. I shared that at the start of it, right? The attention economy. This is the why. Now, the how, that's what I charge for. That's what's inside of your program. And you can touch on a little bit of the how, which I think I do a little bit when I go through some of these challenges. But the goal here is not to like teach people how to start an affiliate marketing or digital product business, which is not even what I share in this one. Actually, as I go down, I explain which one I would suggest when you're just getting started. Okay. So once again, the rest of this is content. I do recommend, it's really, really good. I spent a lot of time and energy on this presentation. So I would recommend that you go through it and actually watch it in full. Once again, you can go to, click the link that's in the description. That'll take you directly to it. Versus going to like latisha.tv/free. But if you're listening to this and you can only remember that and type it in later, then that's absolutely fine. All right. I want to move through some of these next pieces because once again, this is just content. We talked about crafting your marketing, the marketing assets you need. I'm just trying to skip through. Setting up systems. So I explain this, all of these things. This is all of my content. So I'm just explaining these are the things that you need. And I want to break this one down. As I'm going through this, I'm also talking to the fears that the person has, which is how am I actually going to get started? And also some of the doubts that they have, like, okay, what hashtags should I be using? What should my content strategy be? How often should I be posting? Like these things that I know that my ideal client is likely to be asking, I'm going to be addressing those in the content. And I'll do it in a way where I might not necessarily say, I know that you are concerned because you don't know what hashtags to use. Like, I don't need to say that. All I need to do is add a question that says, okay, well, what hashtags are you using? I already know that they're going to say, well, I don't know, right? What's your content strategy? I don't know. I don't have one. How often do you post? Well, right now I'm not posting very often. So these are things, and I go through each of these. These are things that I know my ideal client has questions on. So once again, we're just going through the content. All right. Now we move into step 6, and this is where we transition into the pitch. So let me see if we have, crap. I wasn't sharing my screen. Sorry. Let me go back. Sorry about that. Okay. You can see my screen now. Okay, cool. So let me go back through, so you can see, I make sure I have that on here. I think this was the last slide that you guys saw. So as you go through this, once again, this is content. So I'm just going to kind of click through some of these so you can see. I didn't have these up. I'm not teaching which of these you should do, or how to get started with these, but I do suggest, like, okay, this is the one that I recommend that you do. And I explain why you should do that. And this is all in content. Okay. So then we go into step 2, how to create your minimum viable offer. We go into step 3, which is build your sales plan. And we talk a little bit about that and how to sell based on your pricing. We go into crafting your marketing and some minimum marketing assets that you should have, and then also some next level marketing assets. We talk about step 5, which is setting up your system. And then I go into the system. So this was the slide that I was on when I was talking about the hashtags and things like that. Okay, and then we move into the final piece, which is the transition into the sale. Hey, Tacinda. Exactly. What can you do? Why do you do it? And the how is inside of the program. What's going on, Vanessa? Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm going from trying to get back to the right tab. I moved it over. Okay. Once you get to the end of your content, and this is where a lot of people get tripped up because they get to the end of their content and they get scared about making a pitch or selling, or, oh, now I got to ask for money. You're not asking for money. You just provided an hour worth of value. There are some people who want to take things further and some people who don't. One thing that I really like, and I saw someone else do this, and I might borrow this for a live training. At the end of their training, they said, who wants to take this further? If you want to take this further, give me a 1, and I'll explain to you the program that I've pulled together to help you take this further. And so then they have some people put the 1s in there. So they said, okay, great. For everyone else, thank you for joining me. Have a great evening. If you have questions, come join me in the group. You can ask questions after. And basically what they said was, if you stay, that means that you are saying that you actually want to take things further. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to buy, but that means you've acknowledged that you're ready to take things further. So keep that in mind as you transition. I did my transition in step 6. So I baked my pitch into the final step of the content. So it doesn't feel like, okay, the 6 steps are done and now let's pitch. It's like, no, we're moving, we're going, right? Remember, I have them by the hand. We're still walking. Okay. So I bring back the credibility pieces. I bring those around again. And then I talk through a specific client instance where one of my clients went from making 15K in 6 months. And then when she started working with me, she was able to generate 10K in 10 days just by using our content blitz that we teach in module 10. And then I caught up with her a year later and she had launched and did 150K in 6 days, which is pretty cool. Okay. So at the end of it, I say, you already decided that this is a journey for you. You know, you want to get to your 6-figure goal. You want to do it without wasting time or money. Now you just need a guide as you take each step on the path. And that's why I'm here. If you want help, I want to invite you to become my next success story in the path to 6 figures. And then from here, this is where we actually go into the full pitch. Okay. And then the full pitch is on different slides. So let me first stop sharing my screen, which I did. And then I will go into most of the pitch. I'm not going to do all of it because there is pricing on there. And like I said, prices change. I will give you the heads up though, like this, the launch that I'm doing this year is likely going to be the last one for the path to 6 figures in this current iteration. So I'm kind of sad, but also looking forward to new beginnings. All right, let me put this on the other screen. And then I will break this down as well and put the slides back on, like so I don't mess up like I did before. All right, so we got a couple more minutes. So the next things that I do is I'm like, okay, I want to invite you to be my next success story inside of the Path to Six Figures. So once I say that, this is where I can start essentially going over the pitch. So I explain what it is. It's a step-by-step project-based program with everything you need to create, market, and build an online business with high-quality clients. It includes the tech, the systems, and the tools you need to make sure your business continues to run so you can focus on what you do best. And then all I do is explain what's included. So first you get access to the curriculum. All those things I said you're going to have to do, like lead magnet, website, contracts, text, client portal, social media, all that, you're getting access to all of that. I'm going to show you how to create a free workshop, how to create a paid workshop, how to create your first course or consulting offer, how to set up all the systems you need. Not only will I show you what to do, but I'll tell you how to do it as well. And then I knock out what is that first objection that people usually have, which is, well, what if I don't know what I want to sell? Okay, great. Well, we had a client that was there. She didn't know what she wanted to sell. She used our method and she was able to fill 4 out of 5 spots in her pilot program. And then I just kind of start going through and breaking down each of the things that's included. All right. You get a student success guide. You get access to the private student community. I include screenshots of the private student community, how we cheer each other on. And then I just start going through each of the pieces, everything that's included. If you have a testimonial for the individual pieces, then this is where you want to start breaking those out. So like, for example, I talk about, what's it worth? And I go through the clients who are like, okay, this is what it's worth to me. If you have testimonials, obviously this is where you want to, drop them in. You don't have to. If you don't have testimonials, share your personal story. Okay. I know a lot of you guys are just starting. So, share your personal story. And that's where I will end that, because then we start getting into the pricing and the full pitch and everything. So if you would like to watch the entire presentation and actually get all of the content, all of the 6 steps, as well as see what is included in the Path to Six Figures and get details, just click the link that's in the description box and you can go and check it out. So let me know, was this helpful? When I sent the text and I was like, hey, I'm going to do either the full presentation start to finish, which I think would have been 90 minutes, or I'm going to do a breakdown of why I did what I did, I got 80% of people who were like, we just want to see the breakdown. So was this the breakdown you were expecting? Was this what you're hoping for? Was this helpful? Hey, Cammie. Thank you so much. Cammie says she's a really trustworthy coach. I've worked with Coach Tish in many of her programs, and she helped me carve my own path and encouraged me that I know what to do. 100%. My main goal with my clients is not to have clients that we're working together for like years and years and years, but it's to help you learn how to answer those questions for yourself. Obviously, I can help you with the skills, but learn how to answer some of those questions for yourself so you can move forward. So I'm very excited to hear that. I feel like oh, that's why this thing fell in. Oh man, I hope my mic was okay this whole time. Awesome. Okay, cool. I'm seeing helpful. You're welcome. Yes, it is pre-recorded. Generally speaking, I do all of my webinars pre-recorded because when I go live, if I'm doing a webinar, I'll start throwing in all sorts of little side stories and snippets. It's very difficult for me to stay on script and it becomes much longer than what it needs to be. The second reason that I like doing it is because I'm speaking to a person that's similar to me. I listen to things in 2x speed often. I can absorb information quickly. And so I don't want to be slowed down by the person just because I have to listen to them live. And then third thing is because I want to show you and demonstrate to you that you can actually also make sales without having to be live and teach and record a presentation. So it's the system that I teach is very introvert friendly. All right. Awesome. Good. Glad that it was helpful. Perfect. Okay, good. All right, awesome. The mic was good. Yeah, this is for the camera, so hopefully it doesn't affect the shorts, the digital shorts But if not, I can just grab the audio from this. That's a good point. I don't use a webinar system. I use an uploaded video. Like I literally just upload the video. And then once I'm done, I just put it on my website. I've tried other webinar systems, and what I've discovered is that number one, I don't like the idea of like, oh, we're live. We're live in 15 minutes. I did that before, right? I learned and I did not like. So I changed it. And so that's why I don't really like those like, oh, we're about to be live and then pretending like I'm live. Like we all know that I'm not live. And so if there's no reason to like fake be live, then just upload the video and like let people press play. And then that way you can pause it if you want to come back to it. Now, one thing that I do include is I do include a bonus, like there's a scarcity bonus in play for people who take action right away. So it doesn't mean like play the video and then come back to it a week later. You can, but your bonus won't be there. So that's why there's always an incentive. And I'll show it on the page like, hey, this presentation expires for you. And I think like 2 days I have it expiring. Okay. I generally do record it live, but afterwards I record it again, not live. So the same way that I did this presentation, I'll do a first draft. I read it out loud and I come up with a pretty good first presentation draft. Then I'll present it live. So a lot of you were here when I did this one live, just for the live stream. I did it a couple weeks ago. And what I'm doing with that is my goal is to like get feedback, hear questions from people who are actually watching it live, so that once I do my final draft, I can include those things. So based on the conversations that we were having, I was actually able to tighten up the content a lot better. Then I recorded myself. I stand up, pull my desk up, I stand up and I read through the script and record it. And I stay on script the entire time. My goal is to stay on script. And when I do that, it comes out much more polished and less ums and uhs because I'm not improvising as much. Okay. Yeah, you don't necessarily need to have the live thing. Now, I do like live webinars on Zoom sometimes. So if I ever do a live webinar or a live class, I'll usually do it on Zoom. I feel like I get more engagement. And then like YouTube, I usually do just like my regular live streams. Okay, cool. If you want to check it out, definitely watch it. The link is in the description. So definitely go and check that out. If you have any other questions, especially if you have questions on the path to six figures or you're interested, you're like, is it for me? I have questions. You can just send me a message or reply back to any of the texts that I sent. It looks like only one text went out. So fingers crossed it didn't duplicate. I saw it sent like 5 times. I was like, no, I think it's okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. We've got lots coming up over the next couple of weeks as we are gearing up for the last, the last couple of weeks of the year. So just to kind of give you a heads up on what is coming up. I'm going to be sharing 12 free marketing strategies for coaches, the ones that really work. So that's coming up. We've got Pricing Matters, how to find clients who pay. I'll be sharing free places to advertise and what's this other topic? And then another topic based on the survey that's going out. So there's a survey that's going out. You should get it Monday, I believe. Please take a moment, answer the survey. That's going to inform some of the live streams. It might even switch up some of them based on what you guys want to learn these last couple of weeks of the year. Awesome. Okay. How long does it take to get to 6 figures in your program? Ooh, that's a great question. That's a question that one, you want to turn to yourself. Okay. But 2, I would say it depends. I hate the answer, but honestly, it really does depend. It's going to depend on your starting point. It's going to depend on the investments that you make. It's going to depend on the audience that you have. So for example, Carwana I think she's a perfect example. She had already started her business, right? So she was starting from scratch, but she had kind of already started. Like she kind of already had a program. She didn't really sell a whole lot of it, but she had something going. It took her 6 months to make $15,000. This was before working with me, right? So she was kind of already trying, and where a lot of people are before they come to me, they're like already trying. And then she implemented the stuff inside of the Path to Six Figures. It wasn't called that at the time. So it's basically the stuff that we have in modules 1 and 8 and 10. She implemented those things from those three modules, and she was able to make $10,000 in 10 days. From there, she went through the full program, started working on some of the other things, traffic things that we had, and she wasn't afraid to make investments in traffic to actually get eyeballs on her stuff. Like she wasn't out here just trying to like brute force the algorithm, which I feel like a lot of people try to do. And unfortunately, it's unless you're, top 2%, you're just going to be kind of struggling for eyeballs, attention once again. So she made some investments in traffic. And when I caught up with her a year later, this was after she had completed my program, I caught up with her a year later. She had made 150,000 in 6 days. So for the question of how long does it take to get to six figures, the answer is obviously it depends. But her first success of making 10K in 10 days, like if she just did that once a month, that would be a year to get there. It didn't take her a year to get there. It took her less time to get there. And then she was able to do 150 in 6 days. So I feel like she's a good use case scenario because she had kind of already started. I've also had clients who literally started from scratch. So I pulled the slides down. This is all in the presentation. So once you go in there, you'll see it. But let me show this slide again. And it's on the wrong screen. Okay, cool. So I want to go to someone who is like brand new. Okay, so this story, Danny, right down here in the bottom left, I love her story because she had just lost her job. She wasn't making any sales of a high ticket program at all. She went through the content from the Path Six Figures, which is now in modules 8 and 9. And all she did was she put her webinar up on her website. She didn't touch it, didn't do anything with it. And she had a client that came in and paid double her price. She wasn't spending any money on ads though. Okay. Another perfect example is Jess. She was a brand new coach. So she hadn't been selling any coaching packages at all. And in 6 months, she was able to make $20,000. So once again, what's your starting point? And from there, where can you take things? All right, cool. Great question. Love the question. I hope this was helpful. If you have any other questions, once again, please feel free to message me. You can DM me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Everything comes to this one thing that honestly, like I fell asleep this morning. I woke up and then I fell back asleep. It was in my hand. And I was like, why is my phone an extension of my hand right now? So until next time, remember that your dreams deserve your decision and you deserve to achieve your dreams, but only if you decide to do whatever it takes to get them. So go, dream, decide, do, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.